Hello, everybody. My name is Kamar, and today we'll be reviewing our fifth installment of Season 3 of Bubble Guppies. Season 3, Episode 5, The Wizard of Oz, Tralia. I had to, I'm sorry. In this episode, the Bubble Guppies star in a parody of The Wizard of Oz and The Wizard of Oz relating to Australia. Now, I really like this episode. As somebody who is, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love any cartoon that tackles or talks about different countries. And coming next season, we're gonna have an episode talking about another place of the world, which I also highly praise that episode too. And I also love this episode a lot. Everything in this episode was so memorable to me. I used to always be so happy whenever this episode would come on. So yeah, I really like it. And as somebody who also likes Bluey, prior after it aired prior like a dec I'm pretty sure almost a decade after this episode aired. Yeah, I love this episode even more now. So our episode starts with Molly and Gil swimming to school, and they see Australian nature show host documenting a squirrel. Later in the episode, we find out his name is Bobby. He's a little shrimp, and he's all overly excited about it, and he's like so amazed. He like, what a strange creature. I wonder what it was. And then he's telling him that he comes from Australia because they say to him "G'day." And Gil says that he's heard of Australia because they have kangaroos there, and he tells them that we never seen a creature like this before. And then Molly says, "You mean the squirrel?" And then he's like, "That's a squirrel? Wow, way!" And he says that they don't have any squirrels in Australia, and that he's all excited and stuff about the squirrel. I mean, it's just if there's one thing I love in a cartoon is somebody is a different character from a different place or a different like universe being so amazed or being so out of touch within everyday things that we see in our everyday world. So yeah. And then he's like all excited. He wants to get the squirrel running up a tree on camera like this is the best thing ever seen. It's really cute. It's really cute. I like Bobby. And then they go to school, and then they start speaking in Australian. They're like, "G'day, mate," to Mr. Cooper. And then he and then he explains that Nani explains that Australia is a place where is a place down under. And we have our question segment about different animals that live in Australia, like the famous known one, kangaroos, koalas. They're one of my favorite animals ever, and a wild dog called a dingo. Which this was the episode that taught me this breed of particular dog. And then we have our pop song, which is Australia. It's just so addictively catching. I don't know what it is. Also, the visuals of it is just so amazing. And I just love it. Like, Australia, it's a land down under. Australia, it's a world of wonder. There's so much adventure waiting for you in Australia. And I also like how in the song it also mentions like different animals like dingoes, lizards, and crocodiles. These Australian animals live in the wild. And also Nani with his blowing a little didgeridoo. That's so cute. And you can even hear like a hum in the background. I love it when songs do that. I don't know what that's called when they do that. It's just like a specific like hum melody. I like it. I love it a lot. And then we have our shop segment, which is Billabong Lake. Well, Dima's Billabong Lake. And Una, she wants to find a platypus. And I like how Dima welcomes her. She's like, "G'day, mate. How can I help you?" And she wants to look for a platypus. And we have to help Una because a platypus, she explains that a platypus has different body parts that you would see on other animals. It has a body like an otter, a tail like a beaver, and a mouth like a duck. And I also like it when when at first Una says, I want to see a platypus, Dima says, platy what now? It's just so fun. I love Dima. I love her. I love her. I love her. I love her. And I also like, in another quote, she says when Una was like, I mouth like a duck. And she was like, I mouth like a duck? What? Oh my goodness. I love Dima. I love her. I love her so much. Ah! And we have to help Una. Una. I kind of been watching Ubi recently. Find a platypus, which is really, and the platypus. I also like when she takes the photo. It's like putting a thumbs up and smiling, and it's just so cute. I love it. I love it. And then we have our lunch joke. Naughty got a kangaroo and cheese. None one of his. Time to add that to the list of his lunches that are anthropomorphic. I can never pronounce that word. We have a Molly and Gil segment, which Gil is trying to play with the boomerang, because that's a very popular toy in Australia. And it was and he said that it's supposed to come back to him, but it didn't work out. Gil, my advice, start listening to Jojo Siwa, because it should come back like a boomerang. I'm sorry. That song was a hit back in the day. And then we have everyone playing in the classroom. Gil and Mr. Grouper once again playing along with the Guppies games, pretending like they're watching a herd of kangaroos. And I'm upset that they only gave Gobi like kangaroo ears and a nose, and everybody else who's pretending to be kangaroos, Una, all the girls and Bubble Puppy, they don't have any kangaroo wear, which is kind of sad. But Nani, as a little koala bear hugging the little tree plant in the classroom, is the most adorable thing ever in my eyes. And he explains that koalas are marsupials. And I like how Una, at first, she was trying to pronounce it. She was like, Marsu. And then Dima tries to come along saying, like, she says it like, oh, I know that word. I could easily say it for you. She's like, marsupials. And then she's like, wait, what? And then Nani says marsupials are, once again, are animals that carry babies in their pouches, like kangaroos, for instance. And then we have a short song when Mr. Grouper pretends Bubble Puppy is a dingo. And it's just, I love it. And yes, I will sing it. I'm not ashamed to. There was a wild Australian dog, and Dingo was his name. Oh, D-I-N-G-O, 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 and Dingo was his name. Oh, I did it for y'all. And I also like how all the other Guppies except for Nani are dancing, and he's trying to follow along. He's doing his own thing. Just adorable. I can't help it. Adorable. And then we have our storybook segment, Australian pizza delivery. In this one, I have a little bit of a nitpick with it. I mainly like this segment because I like pizza, obviously. And for some reason, their pizza joint, Gobi and Gil's pizza joint, kind of reminds me of Little Caesars. For some reason, I don't know why. Made me crave a Little Caesars pizza every single time I think after watching this episode, like one time, I remember. Yeah, I think like a specific time I had watched this episode while waiting for my dad to come home from work, because he was going to take me to my grandmother's house. And I remember we made it like a tradition, like around when season 3 was still airing, like every Friday or like anytime you take me to my grandmother's house, we'd always get a Little Caesars pizza for me, him, and her, and my grandfather and my uncle to share, because like it was Friday, obviously. What better day of the week can you get pizza? And it was also like a Little Caesars joint right near her house. So, yeah, I like it. The memories. Now the things I will highlight is this was the episode that got me introduced to the Australian bird, a kookaburra, and I also love the emu, and I kind of get the joke. I kind of get what they were doing, because emo, nowadays I call this character the emo emu, because her hairstyle and the way she talks is just so emo. I have no problem with emos. I promise I don't. But it's just so emo like the emu. And I like the platypus too. She was all giggly and stuff. I like that. And I also like it when they finally find the mama kangaroo that is the mother of Joey. She was like, Joey, did you order a pizza? And he just comes out of his mother's pouch and he nods. I mean, let's be honest. And he has her phone. Let's be honest. Which one of us haven't ordered something off of our parents' phones, off of our parents' accounts when we were younger kids? Who hasn't done that? Because I had my fair share of doing that a couple of times. So this moment is really relatable to me. Really relatable. Now, my only nitpick with the story was before they lost the slip, we already saw what was making the noise, the kookaburra, right? My little thing was, couldn't we have seen the kookaburra before the end of the story? That way the noise that we were hearing would be more of like a mystery element. Like, what is that sound? Because we obviously see what's making the noise, the kookaburra. So I wish the story had a bit more of a mystery element of like what was making the noise, you know. But overall, the story was really good. I liked it. Gobi and Gil, I liked it. It was really, really good. I liked it. And I also like at the end when he was when the kookaburra was like he wanted to order pizza too from chasing them all over the place, and Gil asked, "What would you like on your pizza?" Because he wanted to order pizza too. He was like, "How about some delicious lizards?" And then the boys are like, "Ew." Yeah, I like it. I like it. It was a really funny, yet gross way to end the story. I like it. And then we have our dance song, our Australian dance. We have to pretend that we're climbing up a eucalyptus tree like a koala. Not the most memorable song in this season, dance song in the season, but once again, like from last episode, I will say, Grace Kaufman, she really does nail her vocals. She does. Then on Molly and Gil's segment, once again, Gil is trying to catch the boomerang, but doesn't really turn out good at all. Doesn't really turn out good. And at one point, he has to beg for the boomerang to come back. And then we have our field trip segment, which they're going to Australia. The Sydney Opera House. Is Mr. Grouper like that? How good is Mr. Grouper taking his students to Australia? Like, that is insane. I'm not even mad. Because it's not like they were doing anything dangerous. They got to perform in a show. So, yeah. I'm not even mad at Mr. Grouper. I'm not. And they perform, and we have Bobby as the announcer of what the play is going to be about. And it's the Wizard of Oz, but instead... and we have a gag where they keep on saying, "We're looking for the Wizard of Oz," and then the audience says, or the Guppies on stage, they'll be like, "Tralia," which I like that. And we have a lot of Wizard of Oz built references mixed in with Australian culture, like the Emerald City. Instead, we have the Emerald Sydney, like the Sydney Opera House, and we once again we have the Wizard of Oz, Tralia. And I'm trying to think of what the characters, like the character they were playing could represent from the actual Wizard of Oz movie. If you haven't seen the episode, Dima and Nani were koala bears. I absolutely love that Molly was Dorothy, and of course Bubble Puppy was Toto. What better choice can that be? But what I'm kind of confused about, before I get on to the other characters, Mr. Grouper, we already saw him in the crowd before the show started, and then we see him later on in the show playing the Wizard of Australia. So, my theory is somebody else meant to play the wizard, but they kind of got sick, sort of like what we had in season 1, who's going to play the big bad wolf, kind of like that. And so Mr. Grouper decided he'll take over. Just a little theory of mine. And okay, back to the other characters. Una and Gil. Gil was a little Joey in Una's pouch. She was a mama kangaroo, and Gobi was a platypus. It was really adorable. It was so cute. And I love Mr. Grouper as the wizard. He was really good. Because in the actual Wizard of Oz movie, the wizard, he isn't as powerful as Oz thinks. He just straight up admits when Molly asks, we're trying to find we're trying to find our way back home. And he says, and where's your home? She says, the land down under. And he straight up admits it, like right on the spot. He doesn't do no stalling or anything. He says, I'm sorry, I don't know where that is. And then even Bobby says, even Bobby, who's playing one of the guards in the Emerald Sydney, says that, I'm so sorry, Dorothy, but did you say your home was the land down under? And she said, yeah. And he said, you're already in the land down under. And then Mr. Grouper explains that the land down under is just another way of saying Australia. And then she says, you hear that, puppy, we're home. And we have another reprise of Australia, which I feel like that was a great way to end this show. If you had to ask me, I do like The Wizard of Oz. I do. My grandmother also liked it when she was growing up a lot. She also liked it too. And we have our last Molly and Gil segment. Oh, sorry. I also like the little interactions in the show. Especially with Dima and Gobies, who were my favorite, and Nani's, when Molly was like, look, koalas, and then Dima was like, koalas? Where? And then Nani says, I think she means us. And then Dima, she was like, well, look at that, we are koalas. And Gobi little, I am a platypus. That was cute. I liked it. It was adorable. Now, as I was saying, our last Molly and Gil segment, once again, Gil was I believe he just gave up on the boomerang at that point. But then Molly tried to tell him it was right behind him, and then he finally managed to get a grip on it. And let's just say, how do I put this normally? I'm gonna just put it in the way Alvin and the Chipmunks said it. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round. Because that's what that boomerang was having Gil do. He was spinning him around like a record. Spinning him. Whew. And where he'll stop, nobody knows. But anyway, and that ends our episode. So overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I really, really liked it. Once again, like I said at the start, I love it when any TV show talks about any foreign country, and this episode was just right up my alley. I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and I'm just happy that this episode exists. So I am going to give this episode a solid 10. It's very, very, very good. It's very good. I love it. It's just amazing. And it's just one of those episodes that I just like to rewatch because it just gives off nostalgia in my eyes. It just gives off just nostalgia, just nostalgia. So, with that being said, tune into our next episode as we'll be reviewing Season 3, Episode 6, The Arctic Life. See you all next time.